Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
City of Romulus City Council regular meeting for Monday, December 22nd, 2014. The roll will show that all council members are present. Tonight's council meeting agenda is as follows. Number 1, agenda, 2 minutes, 3 petitioner, 4 chairperson's report, 5 mayor's report, 6A clerk's report, 6B treasurer's report, 7 public comment, 8 unfinished business, 9 new business, 10 communication, 11 warrant 14-24, and number 12 adjournment. And a motion would be in order to accept the council meeting agenda as presented.
So moved.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Abdo, for approval of the minute of the agenda as presented. Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, agenda approved.
2A for approval are the minutes from the regular council meeting held December 8th, 2014.
So move for December the 8th, 2014.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Abdo, for approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting held December 8th, 2014. Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Abstained.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Number 3, petitioners. Tonight, Mr. Chair and Council, we do have a petitioner on the agenda. We have Alex Conlon, and he's from the Great Lake Tire Retreating Facility located on 30003 Van Born Road. And if Mr. Conlon can approach the podium.
Hey guys, I'm Alex Conlon with Great Lakes Tire. We are looking to move into the community and bring about 50 jobs to the city of Romulus in the next 12 months. And right now we're petitioning for our special land use for our building. And in your packets, if you look towards the back of your packet, you'll see our process, which will be running through at our shop. And I could go through that if y'all would like, or
Up to the chairperson. Yes.
Please do.
okay.
That's what you do.
All right. Well, we retread and or what I like to call it, we remanufacture tires. We have in the past, I've been around retreading my whole life or remanufacturing of tires, and we found out that most people create shortcuts and don't do it right. And I've always been very meticulous about how I go about doing things, and I like organization, I like neatness, and I like quality. And we're looking to start a factory or a remanufacturing plant that will achieve all those properties. And I'll go over what we do to make sure that we make the best product in the industry. We start our process off with initial inspection, which we use a Spectra inspector. It runs electric current, like a static electricity, through the tire. And anytime there's a penetration to the casing or tire, a lightning strike, so to speak, a small one will happen and it'll stop the machine. And we mark the spot so that we know to repair that later. After that, we go to shiography. It's a pretty nice investment. It's a technology invented by NASA to find loose tiles on the shuttles when they go up into space. I'm sure y'all remember the Challenger had a loose tile, I think. But it creates a different atmospheres of pressure and moves it back and forth. And while it's doing that, it takes pictures of the inside of that tire and finds trapped air. Anytime there's a separation in a tire, like you see the ones that come apart going down the road, it's caused from trapped air. So if we find that trapped air and do not remanufacture that particular casing or tire, then we can greatly reduce the amount of tires that separate due to having trapped air inside of them. If you look on your sheet in front of you, you'll see a picture, and there's a little dot, and it doesn't show up very good on the geography image, but it has a little speck of trapped air about the size of your end of your pinky. So we can find trapped air of about any size in a tire with that piece of equipment. After we've deemed it suitable for remanufacturing, it goes to a buffer. A buffer is a machine, has electronic programs with the profiles of the tire, and the trick is to cut it down to where it will flex with a remanufactured rubber on top of it, like the casing or tire was designed for when it was new. So it does the proper radiuses and trim angles on the sides and the depth of rubber above the belt packaging. After that, we clean up any injuries at skive stations, get all the rust out, because rust is like cancer, and if you don't get it out, it will continue to travel underneath the rubber, causing a separation. We also do vulcanizing repairs. A lot of places will do a chemical cure, which is created by using a glue that creates heat and bonds it together. A heat cure, which we will be doing, has 70% more adhesion than a chemical cure. After that, we'll go to an AZ extruder. This AZ will put on about 1/32 of a bonding compound. It's a rubber compound that's meant to bond, not run down the road. So after we've extruded that tread, we'll send it on to a builder where we wrap the tire with a predetermined tread pattern and prepare it for curing. Or we will do a mold cure process where we actually wrap the tire with a tread rubber and stick it into a press that has a predetermined tread pattern, and it will also cure for about an hour and produce a finished product. The ones that were done in the predetermined tread patterns will go into an autoclave, which is similar to a pressure cooker if you ever done any cooking, but it'll put pressure and heat on the tire, causing it to cure, and keeping all the air out from underneath the tread as it cures. And after that, we're done. That's our final product. It will be brought into the warehouse, set apart into different sections until it's to be distributed.
Okay, we have a question by Mr. Wadsworth and then Mr. Abdo.
If I can, and it's just like a very positive thing for up on Van Born Road. Do people bring you their old tires and you fix them and sell them back to them, or you put these on the market to be sold under different tire names, or
No, we deal with large trucking companies.
they
and
bring you their old tires?
They, by the truckload, come in, and we go through them.
Okay. Then you remanufacture them and they come back and pick them up as brand new tires. Is that what's happening?
That's right. We ship them back out. So they'll come in truckloads, and they'll leave in truckloads.
Okay, and what about the waste product that's made there, dust or?
It's actually the rubber dust, the clippings that come off the bumper is fuel, and it fuels concrete plants or, in replace of coal. It will be used for producing electricity.
So the bottom line is people bring you their old tires and they want them remanufactured and they take them back, right? That's what happens there.
That's correct.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Ms. Abdo?
I still have a question on the waste material. According to what I've read here, basically the dust and the debris you use and recycle for playgrounds, is that correct?
Yes, it'll be used for playgrounds too, or fuel.
Okay. Is there any of the waste material going into our waste system in terms of, here you show that they're put in sealed dust collection containers. Does any of it not get put in there?
It's a commodity, and we sell it, so we make sure we get all of it in the trailer so we can sell it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Ms. Roscoe?
When Alex came to the planning commission, he had the PowerPoint up on the screen and went through it real thorough and explained exactly what he explained to us tonight. and did a really great job. I really learned everything I needed to know and then some about remanufacturing tires. And appreciate the fact that, you know, you reuse everything that is usable. They're going to work with Carol in regards to getting the landscaping out front, what we can fit in there. It is a small area, but, you know, it can be done, and the different things. Basically, I know you're trying to get your machinery in and trying to get the building up to code and everything right now, so they're on the good path. And also, what's really encouraging is they're gonna work with us and get us the information for employment. And so we can get that out on our websites and certain things, so the Romulus residents will know that companies are actually hiring instead of just, you know, guessing by golly. So that's real encouraging, and going forward, I want to see that done with a lot of our companies that are coming in. But Alex, I thought you did a great job the other night, and we appreciate you coming to our city.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
Any more? Oh,
Yeah,
yes, Ms.
if I
Makowski?
just may say, one other thing that I saw in this package that, well, first of all, very well done, good process focus. I like that you sell your waste. I mean, everybody should do that, right?
Definitely.
So, you look like you're gonna be a great neighbor to have. We really appreciate your business, environmentally sound, and they don't burn rubber, just in case. People kept asking those questions. You do not burn rubber.
That's correct. We do not burn any rubber.
Okay, excellent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Any other comments?
Yeah, just a comment. This petitioner's worked extensively with our planning department, with our planning commission. They've worked through the process. Also, they're going to reoccupy a building that's been vacant. They're coming in, making an investment. They've worked through some of the heartache with that. They lost some HVAC equipment while this building was vacant. So I just want to thank them for working with us on the process. We're excited that, number one, they're going to occupy existing building, invest in it, and also hire residents that are skilled to work there. So look forward to working with them. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor.
If
Any
there's
oth-
no other questions, I'll make a motion to accept the special land use request, PC-2014-018 for Great Lake Tire Retreading Facility located at 30003 Van Born Road.
Support.
Been motion by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Mr. Wadsworth for special land use request, PC 2014-018 Great Lake Tire Retreading Facility. Location is 30003 Van Born Road. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Number 4 is the chairperson's report.
Thank you, Clerk Braggs. Today at 7 o'clock, we had a study session discussing our recreation master plan. And also, at this time, I would like to bring up with Judge Parrott, and I'd like for our city clerk to swear our elected judge in again. Judge Parrott.
I, David M. Garrett,
I, David M. Parrott,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this state,
and the Constitution of this state,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of Judge
of the office of Judge
of the District Court
of the District Court
for the 34th District,
for the 34th District,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations, Judge.
Judge, would you like to say a few words? Okay.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Evening.
Thank you, Clerk Bragg, for administering my oath of office to me. I would also like to thank the City Council and administration for allowing me to subscribe to my oath at this meeting. It was a little over a year ago when I had the privilege of administering your oaths of office right here, and I feel privileged once again to appear before and with you. Thank you for your support throughout the election. I would also like to take this opportunity to express how deeply humbled and honored I am by the trust and confidence the people of the 34th District have placed in me. I am sincerely grateful for this opportunity to continue serving our communities for another 6 years. To show my appreciation, I make this pledge to all of you. I will continue to do my best to be the best judge that I can be. I will continue to work with my colleagues, Judge Tina Brooks Green and Judge Brian Oakley, to improve the services we offer at the 34th District Court. I will continue to dispense justice fairly and sometimes firmly when necessary. But perhaps most importantly, I will continue to help our people, both on and off the bench, whenever and wherever I can. Thank you once again for affording me this opportunity, and happy holidays to all. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Oh, all right. Judge? All right. At this time, I'm going to ask for a memorial resolution for Shirley Crowell. Shirley Crowell was a very good friend, one of my wife's best friend, along with Mrs. Talley, Reverend Talley. She passed away. And I just want to read something about this wonderful woman. Shirley Ann Crowell, also known as Mother Shirley, had a wonderful, loving spirit. She was full of life, joy, and wisdom. Shirley always put her family first and her community. She was a strong woman who always showed her girls that you must always work hard. That is why she became a Romulus City Police Reserve, a child care provider, and worked as a Romulus lunch aide for 18 years in the Wick Elementary, Corey Elementary, and middle schools. I remember I had the opportunity to serve Miss Crowell. She called me John Boy. I served her some greens. She always bragged. I don't know if she liked them or not, but she made me feel good, whether she told the truth or not. But that's the type of person she was. She always give back to the community. She cared about everybody, and she'd be surely missed. I know she was one of Reverend Talley's and my wife Janice Barton's best friends. I used to call them the Three Amigos. So my condolences to their family, and Miss Shirley Crowell will be greatly missed. If I could just have a motion, please.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Makowski, for memorial resolution for Shirley Crowell, Mr. Wadsworth,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Choate.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved. Thank you. That concludes Chairman's report.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
motion to approve the chairperson's report.
Support.
Been motioned by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Makowski to accept the chairperson's report. Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski.
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kraut.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved. Thank you.
5 is the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor, and Mr. Chair, just want to announce that we do have 3 requests to speak under line item 5A.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, under
I'll
your...
cover a few things, and then before we get to that, I'll pause so we can allow those to speak.
Okay.
Good evening, council and clerk and audience. Brought a quote tonight that ties into this season. It goes as this: "He who has not Christmas in his heart will never find it under a tree." And that's what this season is all about. It's a season of giving. It's a season of love. It's not about packages and gift cards and parties. Jesus is the reason for the season, and that's why we celebrate Christmas. So just Merry Christmas to council, Merry Christmas to our clerk and our treasurer and our citizens of this great city. We've got some expressions of that. Wow, we've got some expressions in the hallway, too. We have had a lot of good things happening that are kind of just that, giving and kind acts, and I want to talk about a couple of them. You heard at the last meeting, Dave Allison talk about the Goodfellows fundraising, and they heard dollar amounts, and they heard all these efforts from tea parties to people standing on street corners asking for donations. But what I wanted to have Chief Allison come up tonight and talk about is how many families and what it did to help those families. It's not just about dollars. Ultimately, the program is designed to help families. And this last week on Wednesday was distribution day here at City Hall for those families. And I tell you what, it can't but not put a smile on your face when you saw some of the families that were impacted in a positive way. So Chief Allison, could you come up briefly and just talk a little bit about some of the stats and some of those families that we were able to help out, please?
Good evening. It would be my pleasure to talk about these. To live in this city, I mean, it's a great city to live in. I mean, we've got so many people that contribute. I mean, not only, the people, buying papers, people selling them, but a lot of our businesses that we deal with, I mean, just step up to the plate every year. I'm just really thankful to live in this city. It's a really good place to live. So altogether, just to let everybody know, we've raised right around $30,000 this year for Goodfellows, which is really tremendous. And during the year, we received more. There's still ads that are being paid for, so there's still a little bit more to be coming in. But like I said, we raised $30,000 this year, but believe it or not, we spent about $37,000 this year on our participants in this program. The reason why is because of this money coming in during the year, donations from various organizations and people that, we had a balance last year. Well, what we wanted to do instead of keeping that balance itself was actually end up giving it to the individuals that really deserved it. And I think the committee and everybody involved reviewing stepped up this year, and we gave a lot more than we did last year. So as of this time, we helped about 110 families with food vouchers, some gift certificates. But what was extreme this year is we had almost twice the number of children that we helped this year. We helped actually 245 children this year, just within our city. And these weren't a $10 gift card. These weren't, a $25 gift card. Some of them were $50, some of them were a little bit more. I mean, we did the best that we thought we could do. So with that 245 children, not only did they receive gift cards, they also received toys that were donated by the various companies, and also hat and mittens. Everybody walked away with, something to keep warm, a hat for the head, and mittens for this cold that's coming on. And the other thing, we assisted with 7 adopted families. Another thing we also do is we take care of our seniors here. We put together 119 food boxes that went to various seniors, whether they lived at Whispering Willows, Senior Towers, or lived out on their own someplace. And also with those food boxes were $50 food gift certificates for them to go and spend, and get anything that they may need also. So I just want to say, from the city, our heartfelt thanks go out to all of you who assisted either by selling, buying papers, packaging, distributing, reviewing, whatever you did. You made this program a success. Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas.
Chief Allison. Also, if I could, I don't know, JD, can I put you on the spot? Our Director of Public Safety, we got a unexpected notification from Huron Township in a kind-hearted way, and it was regarding some bicycles. Director, can you tell them a little bit about that story and how we were able to help some other folks?
Yes, glad to. Good evening, council.
Good evening.
R.P. Lilly, one of the trustees over here in Township, reached out to us and wanted to share some good fortune that they had. The Marine Corps Toys for Tot program had donated 50 bicycles to Huron Township. They reached out to the city of Romulus and the Romulus Police Department and agreed to give us 25 of those bicycles. So over the next 2 days, the police officers and fire department are going to be delivering those bicycles to needy kids, some of the kids that made honor roll, that had perfect attendance. We're going to give some of the officers some bikes to drive around in their cars and pass them out that way. So we want to thank Huron Township for looking out for us.
And I thought it would be nice if we could we get a resolution thanking Huron Township and their trustee board for doing that? That was awful nice to look out for their neighbors if it be so fit.
So moved.
Important. Just a quick comment about R.P. Lilly. Even though he lives in Huron Township, he has always had the heart of Romulus in his best interest. He really has.
Absolutely.
He's been a friend of ours going back to the days of the Deep Well.
The Romulus guy. I mean, he came up through Romulus. He may represent Huron, but his heart is still in Romulus.
And he
as it
claims he
shows.
only lives 100 feet south of the city, which he does.
Okay. It's been motioned by Ms. Makowski, supported by Mr. Kraut, for that resolution for Mr. Lilly. Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you very much, council. And again, good work happening here. On another note, and this was, should have been put in your mailbox, a copy of an article that was written in the Cranes Detroit Business. We had and there's been a lot of press. There was a press release on the mall development that Romulus was in contention with a company called New England Development at the Wick and Vining Road area. It was also noted in the press that there was a facility in Canton that they were looking at, a competitive company, Paragon, that was looking at developing the same project there in one other location. Tim Keys, my team, and many people here at the city have had a variety of meetings over the several months. And what you saw in that article in the Cranes was that basically Paragon, who was going to be building in Canton, has now joined forces with New England to build the Romulus location. So Canton was notified that they are not going to get that mall development. I like to see things happen and have shovels in the ground before we talk about them. They wanted to do press releases. I said, okay, we'll respect that. They did come to us jointly with Paragon and New England Development with a joint meeting with our planning, with our departments that are involved, from fire inspection to building to economic to roads. They presented a pretty tight timeline, but one we can work with. So they're planning to submit plans, we hope February, March. There's some things we're going to have to work through with our fast track process. There are a couple things we're working on with the state, with the federal, to make this happen, but I just wanted to let you know and let the public know it was in Cranes, and so it is out in the public that yes, they have joined forces. My understanding is that Paragon will build, New England will run and operate. So that's good news. So at least it's not, it's bad news for Canton because they lost out on this, but good news for us putting that team together and making that happen. So we're going to continue to do everything we can do from the planning standpoint and economic standpoint side to make sure that goes through and gets plans submitted through our planning department and through planning commission and to you. But again, some positive, and just that's officially what's going on with the outlet mall. Couple other things I did want to ask for some council action on. Unfortunately, not as positive news, but unfortunately, we need to ask council for a couple memorial resolutions, if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
And the first one is for the family of Ethel Levette, who passed away on December 15th.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Support.
And under discussion, many of you probably remember the Levette family, Jason, who had previously passed, Ethel, who was a school teacher in Romulus, a very respected family, just an awesome person. They actually had her funeral service on Saturday. And I did get a proclamation to the family, but it'd be nice if we had something from all the elected officials that was sent to show our appreciation for them. I believe that the clerk has that prepared, if we can make sure everybody gets that signed. So that's the first one, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Makowski, for a memorial resolution for Mr. Levette. Excuse me. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. And the second one that we have, I'm asking for a memorial resolution for Ernestine Webster, and this is Tanya Cofield. We had our study session earlier. This is her mother. She lost her grandmother this last year. As you're all aware, she had a medical issue with her mother a few weeks back, and she took a turn for the worst, and she passed this morning. That's why Tanya could not be at the study session earlier. So I ask that you do that resolution that was prepared by the clerk, and also keep her family in your thoughts and prayers.
So move.
Support.
Been motioned by Mr. Kraut, supported by Ms. Choate, for a memorial resolution for Mrs. Webster. Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
And I'll pass on those arrangements once we get them. I do not have them yet for Tanya's mother. And I'll hold on the rest of my action items until you've allowed your,
Yes, I understand there may be some, before we take action on the next item from the mayor, some people would like to speak on, Madam Clerk.
Right, yes, Mr. Chair and Council, I do have 3 written requests for agenda item 5A. And the first request is from David Willett.
Good evening.
Good evening.
good evening.
I know many of you, some of you better than others. I guess we're here to do the people's business. We have been honored and privileged to serve you for many years through a company that I'm president of, Associated Newspapers. I could bore you with a lot of history, but it goes back a long time. Dad got involved in 1950. I was raised just down the road in Wayne, went to Wayne High School. There was a time before Romulus was Romulus that people would go to town, and town was Wayne. It's where the post office was, it's where the markets were, it's where many of the churches were. So I've got a long history with the city, and I don't take the matter before you lightly. I consider it an important matter. As they say, stuff happens, and some stuff happened with us receiving notice. As I stand here tonight, we are your
designated vendor for the publication of legals, as we have been for decades. And we've always tried to give back to the city. We try to give you coverage. We try to give you service. We try to make sure that the legals are printed accurately and timely, and do whatever we can to help you do the people's business that elected you here to serve their interests. I certainly understand that it's a competitive world. I have no problem with people competing with us. The chain of events that occurred whereby the post office in Plymouth moved, and there's been problems with mail delivery. And, but as soon as we did get notice, we called the city. It was advised that one of our options was to submit a bid, which we did. And the rate that we offered was comparable to what we've offered for several years. When that was not found to be acceptable, the question was, should you accept the bid from our company as a late bid? Should you rebid it? And I would have accepted any decision that was made. As it turned out, the decision was made to ask for new bids. And I listened to the mayor at the meeting I was at. I heard him say that he was going to be in favor of the lowest bidder. And my wife and I published the Associated Newspapers. We talked about it and said, is there anything we can do to give them a greater value? All of the bidders had an opportunity to submit the same bid. You could have gone higher, you could have gone lower. We decided to offer a rate that was comparable to our costs. Scott Spielman is here tonight. He covers your city. I think we give accurate coverage to the events of the city. I think Romulus is a well-run and important city, and it's been through its share of troubles. And I certainly have no desire to be part of new troubles. So I'm here to ask very specifically. They say in publishing, don't bury the lead. You know, I'm here to ask that you award us the legal contract going forward. I know that the mayor has chosen to recommend another paper. I'm asking the council to speak up and do what I think is fair. You know, and they say the truth is in the eye of the beholder. I've heard comments about people getting virtually slapped in the face, and you know, I don't think you're here to offend anybody. I think it's sort of an offense that somebody would accuse you of that. I think you're here trying to do what's best for the city. I think we're the most qualified. We offer the best product. We circulate in areas that I think are more relevant to you and your city, Western Wayne County. And if you have any questions of me, I'd be happy to answer them. But clearly, I think the fair thing to do is consider the two rebids, and if a lower bid is important to you, the numbers that I read was $600. We think it's $1,000. You know, if you want to save $1,000, I guess I know how you can do it. It's more than the money, though. It's who's best qualified, who gives you the most for your investment. And I'm asking you to give us the opportunity to continue to serve you.
Thank you. Any other?
Yes, yes. The next person I have is Gina Wilson Stewart.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, citizens of the city of Romulus, and the citizens that are in attendance, I am Gina Wilson Stewart. I am the publisher of the Telegram newspaper. And yes, we did submit the bid the first time it was due, and we submitted it on time. And during the December 1st meeting, it was decided by Mayor and Council, not unanimously, but it was decided by Mayor and Council that you would reject the 2 bids that were submitted on time, and then rebid the process. So yes, I was not in favor of that, because as I said when I spoke on December 1st, is that I believe that when you follow the rules, you should not be penalized. And I know that the former publisher has stood and said that the mail was delayed him getting the package. But as you know, mailing the packages out to people who bid it the time before is probably just a courtesy that the purchasing department does. The official way is that it is published in the newspaper when it's time to get the bids in. So that's exactly what happened. The purchasing department, along with the clerk office, posts the notice in the associated newspaper, and it said when the bids were due. Yes, we did also receive a packet in the mail, but however, if you was just another company who wanted to bid on the official newspaper, you wouldn't have received a packet in the mail. You could have read it in the associated newspaper and found out the bids were due. They published a notice, it was in there, so it's only fair that they can get theirs in on time like everyone else did. It didn't happen. So what do you do? You can reject the bids, we can go through the process again. But it's something strange that happens when you rebid a process. Everybody knows what the bids are when you bid the first time. So I know that I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I know the bids of the people who bid for the official newspaper. I keep a chart. It's my business. I know what they bid for the last 3 years. I know what the Associated News bid for the last 3 years, the exact same price, $5.15. I know that because I keep track. I know what I bid for the Telegram newspaper. So, yes, we were the lowest bid. And then the mayor did mention that he wanted to go with the lowest bid. But then I backtrack, and if I had to go back last year, the Telegram was the lowest bid. But mayor and council decided to go with the Associated News. So it's not to say that you want to go with the necessary lowest bid, you just want to make a good decision. You guys made a good decision last year. You selected the Associated News. No problem. The Telegram would just try again this year. And that's exactly what we did. We just submitted a bid this year. No qualms. It happens. It's business. So if you submit a bid and you don't get it, you know what you do? You wait until the next time and try again. That's just it. You don't get any special privileges because you've been here a long time. You just follow the rules, wait till the next time, and rebid the job, if that's what you want. So I took a little offense to it, to the comments that was made, but that's okay. I do believe that whatever God has for me in my business, He has for me. I'm not going to qualm. I'm not going to be upset. Next year, we'll try it again. I'm not going to stand up here and say that, no, we didn't want the bid. We did want the bid. We feel that we're the best paper qualified for it, so covering the city of Romulus and the surrounding areas. We've only been here 6 years, but we do a fine job in covering the incidents that are going on. This is what we do. We're the official newspaper for 3 other cities. It's not that I have to recreate the wheel. This is what I wake up doing. I live, I breathe. I'll probably die doing the Telegram newspaper. But this is what I love to do. And, you know, the citizens of the city of Romulus, they like the Telegram too. Not only the citizens of Romulus, but all the downriver communities. They love the Telegram newspaper. Can we do a good job? Can we represent Romulus well? Sure we can. That's what we do in the other cities that we support. Are you guys going to vote for the Telegram newspaper or the Associated News? Only you guys know that. That's not my decision. I've done my part. I followed the rules on time, If we don't get it, we're not gonna try to submit, we're not gonna do anything else. We're gonna sit down, have a seat with pride, because we did everything right. That's all I have to say. Just need to make the best decision for the citizens of the city of Romulus and for you guys. That's it.
Thank you. Oh,
You guys
Nick,
have any questions?
any questions? No question? Okay, Ms.
We
Madam
do
Clerk.
have another request. Vicky Dobbins, I believe it is.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Vicki Dobbins. I'm from River Rouge. I am a precinct delegate and a past school board member for the city of River Rouge. I am also a subscriber to the Telegram newspaper, which I get every week timely. It's in order. It's a wonderful paper. It's got all the advertisement. It's got everything in there that I need. It's got wonderful headlines. Miss Gina writes wonderful articles. Her and her staff give excellent newspaper business for the city of River Rouge and also the downriver community. So, along with Gina Wilson Stewart, I ask that this council think about an excellent paper and people who truly enjoy her paper right now. This is a young woman who started off several years ago, and she's doing a great job. So I would like to see her continue it to that. And as we know, whatever we do in life, we just climb the ladder. We just go forward in everything. Gina has got a awesome spirit, and so we stand behind her, and we stand with you, the council and the mayor, in your decisions of whatever you decide to do. So thank you so much for listening to me. Again, my name is Vicki Dobbins. I'm from River Rouge.
Thank you. Is that it?
I did have a written request from Pastor John Hearn, but I don't know, did you want to speak under this item or under public comment? This, okay, it didn't say. So we do have one more.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. This is Pastor John Hearn.
Okay.
My name is Pastor John Hearn, and I'm representing the Western Wayne County NAACP. I'm the treasurer of that organization, but our president, Bishop Walter L. Stargell, asked me to come this evening and represent the group and show our support for Sister Gina Stewart and the Telegram newspaper. This particular publication has a history of journalistic integrity, and we believe that it has what it would take to represent the city of Romulus and its citizens with the integrity of its journalistic abilities to best represent not only the city, but the citizens as well. This is a public forum, this is a municipality, and what I've learned over the short course of my life is that there's no room for favoritism when it comes down to public dollars. You get the best bang for your buck by going for the lowest bid and the best quality. And my family and my wife is here with me. We were fortunate to be a part of a private school for a number of years, but when that private school became a public charter school, all the family members had to leave. There was no room for favoritism. We're simply asking today that this council take into consideration that the bids went out in a fair way to all those that were interested, and we would ask that you would act accordingly in rewarding those bids based on the fact of how they were received. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
That's the last written request.
This is the last one. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Madam Clerk. My first item that I have up is 5A, and this is the official publication newspaper. And you know, in listening to our people that came up, and also the last meeting, I want to be very clear that, you know, what I'm doing is making a recommendation based on what I feel is best, based on the process and fair. I sat on this council and supported Associated Newspaper for years. When this bid process was sent out, one thing I do want to make clear is that it's based on advertisement. We are not required to send, we try to send notification, and that's what purchasing always tries to encourage is bidding, so we get the best competitive bids for the best value for the city. This came before council prior. I gave you my recommendation then. Council decided to rebid it. We asked purchasing to turn this around as quick as possible, rebid it. That's exactly what they did. The prior bids that had been submitted that we'd been using was, it was $515 is what the associate had been doing the publications for us. The low bid that came in was, all the bids were rejected by council, as you know, the last go-around. So when we rebid it, it came back in, and, you know, my concern is for the process that we went through. When you put a bid out, and as you heard the people speak on this, everybody knows where those bids are. And I didn't feel that was the right process to go through. You ultimately have the decision to be able to pick and choose and award the bids. But my concern is, and I pledged and I took the oath of office to make sure that we were doing everything above board, that there wasn't going to be anything of question in my administration about the process. So, you know, no offense to Associated. I'm not here cheerleading for you know, Gina's paper. They're going to be held as a standard based on my recommendation to fulfill the obligation that was in the bid. The actual bid price that I do want to make clear to the public that, and the reason I'm going to be recommending the Telegram paper is because it's also still 3% lower than what we were paying. So even though it wasn't the lowest in this last go-around, it is still a cost savings from where we were before. So with that, what I'm asking, my recommendation is, and you saw my memo, it was in your packet, is to award bid ITB 14/15-16, the official publication newspaper for publications of all city notices to Telegram newspaper for the calendar year of 2015 at a per column inch price of $5 per inch.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
I'll
Ms.
make that
Roscoe.
motion to award bid ITB 14/15-16, official publications newspaper, for the publication of all city notices to the Telegram newspapers for the calendar year 2015 at a per column inch price of $5.
Support.
It's been motioned by Ms. Roscoe, supported by Ms. Makowski, to award bid ITB 14/15-16, official publication newspaper for the publication of all city notices to the Telegram newspapers for the calendar year 2015 at a per column inch price of $5 per inch. Any discussion?
Mr. Barton,
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth.
if I could, and this may take a few minutes, first of all, there's nobody's integrity here on trial, or nobody's saying that either paper doesn't have the ability to publish a paper. They both do, and they're both fine papers. Backing up about 5 weeks ago, when I first seen the original bids, I was ready to vote for the Telegram at that time, based on being the lowest bid. Unfortunately, within the next couple of days, it was brought to my attention that there had been a mailing had been sent out, and the News Herald and the Telegram obviously received the mailing on time, but the Associated News did not receive the mailing on time. And at that point, I felt that it was unfair. Of course, he could have read it in his own paper, without a doubt. I understand that. But 2 bidders got a special package. 1 bidder got a package 10 or 11 days later, which was the day of the bidding or the day after the bidding. And I feel that it was unfair. If the tables would have been turned and the News Herald and the Association would have got a mailing and the Telegram wouldn't have got a mailing, I'd have been given the same speech up here right now. It wasn't fair. It wasn't fair. This council, for some reason, 2 weeks ago, by a majority, 5 of us voted to reject the bids, which I felt was the fair thing to do for everybody involved. Unfortunately, some of us weren't too sure maybe how to vote. I don't know, but at this point, I'm going to vote against this. I just think that there was an upper hand given to two, one didn't get the upper hand, and I wish that nobody was mailed anything out. Then two people wouldn't have got a special mailing to them, where one was mailed but it never got there on time. I believe there was a mistake made in this building, and we should be big enough to stand up and admit what we did. There's no reason to blame anybody. Things do happen, as they say in the Phantom of the Opera, things do happen, and they did happen here. We've had some people talk about integrity. Nobody here is questioning anybody's integrity. I just feel that what we did was the proper way to go about it. We rejected, it wasn't the first time this council has rejected bids and picked lower people. It's happened before. And if it wouldn't have been for the mailing, I'd have been in favor of the telegram getting the original bids, but unfortunately, there was a mailing that went out, and we asked them to rebid it, and the mayor did rebid it. A couple weeks ago, the mayor said he really didn't have a pick here, and now he has a pick here, and that's just good for him. I just feel that now we have two bids, and we should go with the lowest bidder. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wise. Any other comments?
Mr. Chairman, just if
Yes.
I could, the comment, I want to be very clear about this office and this city hall making a mistake. There was no mistake made by personnel. So I'll leave it at that. We tried to encourage bids. There were packages sent out. What I think is unfair, and what I'm stating in my memo that I sent to you, is that when you have an initial bid and all those bids are revealed, I don't think it's a fair process for someone to come in after that, and you know they can see those bids, it's public information. So then to have a supplier who was supplying us at $5.15 for I don't know how many years I go back, was at that level, and then to have council reject, put out bids again, and see that they weren't the lowest on that one, and then to rebid it below that, I have a problem with that. And so, you know, I would take the same stance that Mr. Wadsworth said. To me, it's not about who the vendors are. It's about the process. I don't feel that that's a fair process. Therefore, I stated that in my memo to you, and that's why I stand by the recommendation I have for the telegram. Thank you.
And Mr. Barton, if I could just make a last comment, it wasn't a fair process. Two people received bids on time, a third party that was mailed it got it 10 days later because it was sent to the wrong address. We had been sending this vendor stuff to a different address, and it was a mistake. It was made in this building. A mistake, no wrongdoing, a simple mistake happened. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no more discussion, I'm gonna do a roll call. Mr. Wadsworth,
No.
Mr. Kraut,
No.
Ms. Choate,
No.
Ms. Abdo,
No.
chair votes yes, motion failed. Now we have to do a bid now. A motion need to be in order to select paper.
I think you didn't call
Mikowski.
Oh,
Mrs.
I'm
Minkowski.
sorry, Ms. Mikowski, I'm sorry.
I vote yes for the motion.
Oh, okay.
I did too.
The reason, okay. Okay, my fault. So we now need a motion, since this motion was turned down for the Telegram newspaper, we need a motion to select a.
Okay, if I could, I'll make a motion that we award the official newspaper beginning on December the 1st, 2014 to December the 1st, 2015, and to the Associated Newspaper, it's bid 14/15-16.
Any support on that?
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Kraut, to select Associated Newspaper for bid ITB 14/15-16, official newspaper publication for calendar year 2015. Roll call vote. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Ms. Mikowski?
No.
Ms. Roscoe?
No.
Chair votes no. Motion passed. Associated Newspapers, newspaper.
Mr. Chairman, before I go on to item 5B, I do want to read a memo, and I want to present this to the clerk and also to the chairman. And this is addressed to Ellen Bragg, our city clerk. It's from my office. Subject is this official newspaper notification. It's dated today. It says the action of council approving a contract with the newspaper to make the paper the official newspaper of the city under section 6.12 of the charter is a resolution and is subject to mayoral veto under section 7.13 of the charter within 72 hours of the adoption of that resolution. Notice is given that I am exercising my veto authority by filling this official notice to the office of the clerk that reads as follows. Notice hereby given suspending the operation of the resolution that will be provided and filled in by the clerk and adopting an official newspaper of the city on December 22nd, 2014 to City Council. I provide this notice pursuant to Section 7.3 of the City Charter. I do so because the procedure used in this bidding process, which allowed the lowest bidder on the second round of bidding to know the lowest bidder's bid from the first round and to therefore undercut that lower bid, in my opinion, creating a flawed and unfair process. So I'd like to give a copy of this to the clerk and to the chairman.
We don't have 5 votes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next up is 5B. What you have before you is an authorization to execute a contract with, regarding the Wayne Road Sidewalk Project. As we talked before, this is one that we work jointly on, and this is asking to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation, state contract for the Wayne Road Sidewalk Project at a 20% project local match in the amount of $144,788.
So moved.
Support.
Motion by Ms. McCoskey, supported by Mr. Wadsworth, to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute the MDOT state contract for the Wayne Road Sidewalk Project at 20% project local match in the amount of $144,788. Discussion?
I have a couple comments.
Yes, Ms.
I just like to say this is a long time coming, getting that sidewalk down Wayne Road. And it's not just a convenience, it's a safety issue. And I'm just really glad to see that we're finally made headway with it, and we're gonna be going forward with that sidewalk.
And if I could, we're gonna have a busy year next year. That construction project is planned for 2015. We're also gonna, as you recall, still be doing the finish-up work at this intersection at Wayne and Goddard that we ran into weather-related issues, and then we'll be doing the last phase of the downtown area for Goddard Road. So we have that and other things planned, so it'll be a busy, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I would like to say that I am so thankful that the sidewalk is going in, and I'd also like to say that that is MDOT contract number 14-5585. It's on the west side of Wayne Road from Herman to Goddard Road. And from now on, the young people who walk to school, who are always walking between Burger King and McDonald's, they can walk on the west side of Wayne Road in safety now.
Right.
Absolutely, and I tell you, I've seen people on wheelchairs, scooters, bikes. It's going to be interesting construction season because, as you know, there's several entries and exit ways to the interstate. So it's going to be complicated. They're going to have to cut back into the berm to accommodate it, but very much needed. We're excited it's going to be there, and I think bottom line is our residents will be safer because of it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McCoskey?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, council. Last item up for action is 5C, and what you have before you is an introduction to budget amendment 14/15-12, and this is to correct the preliminary community development block grant allocations that typically happen every year as adopted, and these allocations are based on the approvals from the subrecipient agreement that was presented to you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I'd like to make the motion that we introduce Budget Amendment 1415-12 to correct preliminary CDBG allocations at the time the budget was adopted to the final CDBG allocations based on the approved subrecipient agreement.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Choate, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to introduce Budget Amendment 1415-12 to correct the preliminary CDBG allocations at the time the budget was adopted to the final CDBG allocation based on the approved subrecipient agreement. Discussion? Roll call. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mikowski?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Thank you, council. That concludes my report.
Thank you.
6A is the clerk's report. Under 6A1, for second reading and final adoption, is an ordinance amending Chapter 46, Article 4, peddlers and solicitors, and also in Chapter 46, Article 5, which is transient merchants. This amendment was introduced for first reading at the council meeting of December 8th, 2014.
So move for second reading and final adoption.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Mikowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for second reading and final adoption of the ordinance amending Chapter 46, Article 4, peddlers and solicitors, and Article 5, transit merchants. Ms. Mikowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Mr. Chair and Council, under item 6A2, we have a request to speak to council regarding, before council takes action on this item.
Okay.
We have Scott Braxton. If you can come up to the podium, please.
I guess I need these. Okay, esteemed council members, mayor, citizens of Romulus, guests. My name's Scott Braxton. I'm a transient mobile food vendor. I've never heard myself called that before, but that's what I am. So I'm here to ask you this evening if there's an appeals process in place so that I'm interested in placing my food truck at the end of the runway on the South Cell phone lot on Eureka Road. The airport has given me permission. I called today to speak to Carol. Carol expressed that I needed to ask about an appeals process. So that's why I'm here. I'd like to see if I can run my business at the airport at the South Cell phone lot. I'm also I'm an employee of Delta Airlines. I'm a flight attendant, and it just works well for me. I'm there amongst my friends and basically my family members. I'd be serving many members of Lake Limousine, the police department, members waiting for, most importantly, members waiting for their family to come in at the airport. I serve coffee, hot dogs, prepackaged candy, just snacks, basically. I'm not cooking anything. I have my Wayne County license. I guess that's pretty much it. I have copies of my menu if anybody wants to look at it. I think that's it.
Mr. Mayor, would you like the administration to speak on that?
Yeah, what you have before you is the second reading. What we had presented in the study session, as you know, is we were having people set up businesses in front of other businesses and with mobile units. That was kind of in conflict with the people that were making investments with bricks and mortar and running business operations. So the direction we got from you and from planning and so forth was to present the ordinance that's there. The question about the appeal process, I'll defer to Carol. I don't know, Carol, can you explain the process on that so that the petitioner knows what he can or can't do on that front? Thank you.
I sure can. Mr. Braxton called today inquiring about this, and when I said your timing is real interesting, they're looking at the second reading tonight for adoption on this ordinance, and as the ordinance is written right now, it would not be permitted. There are 3 scenarios where food trucks would be permitted, and they're in your ordinance here, that's part of the special event, or if you're accessory to a restaurant. So he had asked about an appeal process, what could he do? I had called Steve Hitchcock, and Steve said, take it to council tonight and see what, if council wants to consider amending it, or, as he had said tonight, he's not here tonight asking for a permit to do this. He's asking for some reconsideration of the ordinance, and that, becomes your choice. I explained, we did do quite a bit of work. He had asked if we were aware that this was written like this, were there consequences, that there was no appeal process, and we said yes, but this is the avenue to go, is to come back and talk to council.
So after council was to approve second reading, there really wouldn't be much of one.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why Steve
So I
had
guess the
suggested-
question to council, the whole process with first reading, second reading is to tweak things based on your direction. I was not aware that there was a food vendor at the cell tower there. The issue that we had that I was trying to curtail is people setting up in front of gas stations and others with these temporary sales. So I guess it's to your liking if you would like to have something changed or amended in that. Wasn't aware of this gentleman's business. It was more targeted towards trying to clean up, because we've had some of the people that have bricks and mortar and investments, they'll have someone with permission or without permission setting up selling out of these mobile units, and it's real tough with no teeth in the ordinance to be able to enforce that. So I guess looking for some direction if there's anything you want in second reading tweaked.
It'll be Ms. Roscoe and then Ms. Apto.
Well, with no appeals process, nobody can appeal what was set in stone. And by having an appeals process in here, doesn't mean that you would still be granted the right to be there, of course, or anybody. So I think if we take a second look at this and put an appeals process in this and have it set up in a way that certain situations can or cannot be approved, it would be probably better served to the people that are doing the things like you're doing. Again, that doesn't mean that you won't have to abide by all the rules, of course, and go through appeals process. It doesn't mean everyone's gonna set up everywhere, correct? Would that be the way it would work for an appeals project?
One of the things that Steve and I talked about today was taking it back, if the council agreed, wanting us to take it back and investigate all that. Off the top of our heads, the scenario came up that, would it go to BZA, would it be an administrative thing? We would have to ponder that, and the circumstance that would be likely where you might want to consider it, or where an appeal might be appropriate, is if there are no other food resources in an area. Say there was employment centers, there were people working, but they had no place to go to grab their lunch, and somebody came in and petitioned to possibly put a food truck there. That might be a circumstance, for example, that might be considered. But again, this just came in this afternoon and talking about it off the top of our heads.
Carol, could we do this? Could we not act on the second reading, have you come back with some option for council? I just hate bringing it to them, and this just came up. I, really wasn't aware of it. You don't have to act on this tonight.
Right.
And that way, if you want her to, if you don't, you can act on it. But if you want to have some kind of process in this for an appeal, she can come back with some recommendations through my office and do that, or you can take it as it's presented to you.
Mr. Chair, could I?
Just Ms. Apto and then.
Yes, I'd like to delay acting on this. I'm going to tell the rest of my colleagues. I don't think when this was drawn up, it encompassed all the possible situations that could have arisen. I'm just curious, Carol, will this affect any of 6A, 1, 2, or 3 either?
Shouldn't they're all separate? So
Would any of those, maybe we should,
It could,
a step.
for example, let's take a scenario that if you wanted to consider appeal process, in your code of ordinances right now, there are several ordinances, the sign ordinance, for example, there is an appeal process, and that goes to BZA. What you would have to question is where do you want the appeal process to go? Do you want it to come back to you? Do you want it to go to BZA? So in that regard, might be best to sort of table them all and see
What I
if
was
there's
thinking.
any crossover, particularly
I was thinking there
that
might be
zoning
some sort of
ordinance section.
relation that maybe we should pull it back, take a look, a more comprehensive view, and make sure that we're not hurting someone that is actually being upheld, you know.
Ellen, am I following that right with your two ordinances? I know in terms of the zoning ordinance, which is the one that I you're exactly right. Ellen, what about your two?
The one I'm more concerned with is the transient merchant, that we may have to, you may have to rescind that motion, because it's going, this is second reading and final adoption. So if you don't want it to go through and you want to look at the whole picture, definitely we would have to table this or not take any action on this line item, and then the previous line item, you would have to rescind that motion at you know.
Mr. Chairman,
appropriate
if
time.
I could, my recommendation would be to just take no action. If you table it, it has to come up with the next meeting. I'm not sure if she'll have enough opportunity to come back with an appeal solution for you, so I would think we'd want to, if that's the wish of council, just take no action on that item and let her try to come back with it.
I would say no action.
Yes.
That way we get a chance to get some more information and make some more decisions, a better decision.
If I may, Mr.
My question's answered, so.
Ms. Joe.
I agree that we should not take any action on this, because that's more or less the purpose of a second reading, is you have your first reading, and any changes that you make or things that you want to do with it, then you bring it back for a final second. And, you know, that's what the purpose is. So I would say no action at this time.
Ms. Bragg,
I was just concerned with the line item 6A1, since you have already taken action and all of this, they all are related because it's transient merchant. If Mr. Braxton did, you know, let's just say he was approved, or, you know, he would be considered a transient merchant. So if you know, that all might be related, so it's totally up to council if you feel that that line item should be rescinded because you've already taken action on it.
So if I could ask a question
Sure.
about our process, I made the motion for 6A1 to make the motion to rescind, or does it matter who does it?
Make her
I
the
think you do.
motion.
The maker of
You
the
make her the
motion.
motion, so
Yes.
You could make a motion to
Rescind it.
rescind.
Okay. Consider that done. I'm making the motion to rescind 6A1.
Okay, got a second? Is the second okay with you, Ms. Roscoe?
Yes, I'll second that.
Okay. It's been motioned by Ms. McCoskey, supported by Ms. Roscoe, to rescind second reading and final adoption of the ordinance, amended Chapter 46. Article 4, peddlers and solicitors, and Article 5, transient merchants. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ms. McCoskey?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Motion approved.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 6A3, this is for second reading and final adoption of an ordinance amending Part 2, Chapter 52, sidewalks and other places. So all of this was kind of a package, so I don't know if you want to proceed and take action on this, or no action on this line item as well.
No action, I would say.
Because they're all, you know,
Together,
related.
like, I would suggest no action.
You need
Sure.
yes.
No action?
No action.
All right, so noted, no action on 6A3. Now comes to 6A4, and we may have to ask our city planner with regards to, because this is the zoning ordinance amendments. And again, this is all related, and I would want to ask Ms. Mays, is this one that we can take action on, or should we, no action on this one as well?
Would recommend the same thing on this. Let's take no action on it. We'll take it all back to Steve Hitchcock, the attorney, and get you some clean clean language that you can ponder next, maybe not next time, but when we get to it.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
that makes it easier.
Yep.
All right, then line item 6A5, City Treasurer is requesting a study session for Monday, January 12th, 2015, at 7:15, and this is to discuss the first quarter investments.
So move for January the 15th at 7:15.
Support.
Motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Makowski, for study session request for Monday, January the 12th.
I said 15, I meant 12, sorry.
12, that's okay. January 12th, 2015, at 7:15, to discuss first quarter investments. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we will have our study session.
Okay, and line item 6A6, and this is for introduction and first reading, to add section 36-359 to Article 7, Offenses Against Public Safety, Division 3, False Request for Services of the Romulus Code of Ordinances.
So moved.
Support.
A motion by Ms. Makowski, supported by Ms. Roscoe, for first reading to add section 36-359 to Article 7, Offenses Against Public Safety, Division 3, False Requests for Services of the Romulus Code of Ordinance. Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
You have discussion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would just like to read what section 36-359, false requests for services, is going to entail. It says, "It shall be unlawful for any person within the city to summons as a joke or prank or otherwise without any good reason thereof by telephone or otherwise, the police or fire department or any public or private ambulance to go to any address where the service called for is not needed." Support, yes.
Okay. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
That concludes the line items under the clerk's report. Before I close out, I would just like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a safe and blessed holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.
The city treasurer couldn't be here tonight and asked that her absence be excused. Her son had a hockey game this evening, so.
Nice.
Number 7 is public comment, and this is the portion of our meeting where those in the audience have an opportunity to address council. If you wish to address council, please raise your hand. After you have been acknowledged by the chair, we ask that you approach the podium and state your name and your address, and we ask that you please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We do have 2 written requests.
Okay.
And this is Regina Plank.
Actually came up tonight to tell everybody thank you. The Associated News and the Telegram, both for putting the advertisement in the paper, the city for putting it on the cable. We had a very successful fundraiser. It was standing room only. We raised just under $4,800 and everything, and I'd just like to thank everybody that helped support it and helped us with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, we only had 1 written
Just one?
request. Everybody's had an opportunity to
Okay.
speak.
Is any other comments from the audience? Merry Christmas to you. Okay, Madam Clerk, we'll close that part out.
Number 8 is unfinished business.
Mr. Barton?
Yes, Mr.
If I
Wadsworth.
could, I have 2 things and I'll be quick. If you're thinking about donating to anything in our town, I will mention the Rama's Animal Shelter first. But if you don't like the shelter, and I've said it in the past, there's library fund, there's a cemetery, there's a Girls and Boy Scouts, Helping Hand, the Progressive Hall, the Civic Club, the Burton Center. There's many churches in our town, the Salvation Army, and the list goes on. So you got until the end of the year. Number 2, if you're thinking about adopting a cat or a dog, like I said, it's a lifetime commitment. Don't just take one because they're cute. go look at a shelter before you go to any type of pet store or puppy mill. And then on a different topic, tonight, we had a resolution was vetoed by the mayor, and I think the clerk, you're going to have to give us in writing what the options are or the options aren't. It's been the first time it's happened to me in my 32 years. The past mayors that we've had have never vetoed a resolution by council. They've always accepted a majority of the council with the term, let's work together as a team. So could you provide all the council members, I know what the options are, but so the rest of them have it too?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And just don't leave them in our box or put it online. Give it to us personally.
We'll
All
personally,
right.
yes, we'll personally provide that
Thank you.
for each individual. There's no more unfinished business. Number 9 is new business.
Yes, Ms. Abdo.
Yes. At this time, I would like to request a memorial acknowledgement for a former teacher in Romulus, Mr. Bill Barnes. He didn't live here in Romulus, but he served the Romulus community for 30 years. He was a welding teacher, a yearbook teacher, English teacher, and I'm asking this resolution for his family. I want them to know that Mr. Barnes touched many of our lives here in Romulus, and that he will always be remembered fondly.
Support.
So moved, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Abdo. It's been motioned by Ms. Abdo, supported by, was that Mr. Kraut or Mr. Kraut, for memorial resolution for Mr. Bill Barnes.
Barnes.
Ms. Abdo,
Yes.
Mr. Kraut,
Yes.
Ms. Choate,
Yes.
Ms. Makowski,
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Is there any more new business? All right, number 10 is communication.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
You know, I just kind of want to respond to this veto situation that was brought up by Mr. Wadsworth. You know, I can't speak for the prior mayors, but I take my job very seriously, and I do try to get cooperation, but I do also believe that if the process and what I see ahead of us is not the best process, then I'm going to invoke the powers that the citizens have given me by the charter. And that's what I did tonight. Unfortunately, it came to that. I also don't appreciate when people are saying that mistakes were made in City Hall. That is wrong. First off, the publication that was put in the paper was put in our current paper, okay? I understand mistakes happen, maybe they didn't see that, I'll give them that. But to say there was special treatment, that somebody was sent out a notification, others were not, a notification was sent out. They pulled that address from the vendor's website. That's not a mistake. That's not a mistake in the process. We'll make sure that all our vendors, as much as possible, keep their information up to date. But we have to do things right. And I guess what I'm looking for from council is some recommendation in this upcoming year, how we can make sure that our processes are clean and that we're communicating. I sit down with council and try to go through each year goals. I'm going to be rolling out my State of the City. We have coming up on the 5th our visioning study session. I've tried to include council in that. I've included the schools in it. I've included businesses, employees, residents, churches. I think that's what it's about, is what the city wants. I'm not happy with having to veto something. I want to make sure we're doing good work. That's what I took the oath to do. I'm sorry there's misgivings with that. Like I said, I take my job serious. I'm going to do to the best of my ability as given in the charter by the citizens of this city. So, thank you.
Mr. Barton?
Yes.
If I could, a quick response. Number one, Mayor, you were totally in your right to do what you did tonight. There was no questions about that. The men and women that work in this building are hard-working, dedicated people, and they do a hell of a job, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. People that work here, the Teamsters, the DPW, the police, the fire, they're all hard-working people, and I support them wholly. Thank you.
And communications, I want to, are there any more communications before I start? I've been wanting to do this for a long time. We made the playoffs, And we're gonna play for the division championship Sunday. So let's give Lions a hand. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Short and sweet and to
Short
the
and sweet.
point.
Yep, to the point.
We'll take it.
All right.
Number 11 for approval is warrant 14-24.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Ms. Choate.
I would like to make a motion that we pay warrant 14-24 in the following amounts. General Operating Fund, $244,080.97. Major Street Fund, $86,332.54. Local Street Fund, $12,122.19. Cable would be $1,038. Merriman Road Special Assessment, $37.78. Sanitation Fund, $330. Community Development Block Grant, $6,140. 911 is $4,216.83. Narcotics Enforcement Fund, $665.13. Library Fund, $23.57. Tifa District Number 2 is $1,000. Water and Sewer, $279,546.75. Motor Vehicle Fund, $24,227.79. Technology Services, $334.14. Retirees Insurance Benefits, $8,118.73. Revolving Fund, $467.50. And the Payroll Fund, $138,107.94, for a grand total, $806,789.86.
Support.
Motion by Ms. Choate, supported by Mr. Kraut, to pay warrant number 14-24 for $806,789.86. Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Warrant number 14-24 will be paid.
Number 12 is adjournment. And again, everyone have a wonderful holiday.
Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Ms. Makowski for adjournment. Mr. Wadsworth? Ms. Makowski?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Kraut?
Yes.
Ms. Choate?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. We are adjourned. Thank you.